The shuttle made landfall on Valeri Prime with all the elegance of a dumpster dropped from the heavens, groaning under the strain of atmospheric entry. Elias Mercer, a courier of little renown and even less grace, braced himself as the vessel settled, belching a cloud of industrial dust into the pristine alien air. Beyond the ramp lay a world that looked less like a planet and more like a fever dream of impossible geometry. Spires of living glass humming in harmony, bioluminescent foliage, and air that smelled of ozone and citrus. It is a strange irony of the cosmos that the most pivotal moments often arrive in the rustiest packages. Elias had aimed for the diplomatic pad, but thanks to Kevin, his ship's AI, currently emotionally compromised after binge watching Earth soap operas, he had touched down in the royal meditation garden. The silence here was thick, broken only by the trill of petal beasts. And then he saw her. Princess SciFi stood on a bridge of woven crystal, wings folded like stained glass, staring into a pool of liquid starlight. Protocol demanded he retreat. Instead, Elias approached, driven by an impulse he couldn't name. He didn't offer a weapon or a treaty. He offered a piece of junk, a scratched music box salvaged from a Martian outpost. He wound it, and the tinny, hiccuping lullaby drifted through the alien perfection. SciFi turned, her eyes the color of a sky one forgets to look up at. She didn't scold him. She touched the box, dropped to her knees, and wept. "No one," she whispered, voice fracturing, "has ever given me something just to make me smile. In a life scripted by duty, an unasked for kindness is a devastating thing." Elias made a joke about socks, and for the first time, the princess laughed, a messy, genuine sound that shattered the garden's solemnity. The moment was cut short by the arrival of the guards. The subsequent council meeting was a masterclass in bureaucratic absurdity. The throne room, a cathedral of levitating prisms, hosted 12 Illyri officials who looked at Elias as if he were a spiritual pathogen. A translation orb, speaking with passive-aggressive flair, accused him of disrupting the emotional equilibrium and invoking Shantiel, a sacred bond of genuine feeling. When Elias tried to explain the human concept of gift, referencing a pineapple he once gave a coworker, the council was horrified. He was sentenced to emotional house arrest in the Dream Gardens, a sentence Kevin noted was better than execution, though only marginally. Life in the Dream Gardens was a surreal exile. The trees hummed ancient songs, and benches shifted to cradle his spine. SciFi visited daily, the bond between them deepening in the quiet. She showed him the room of unwanted gifts, a vault of cold, political tributes, explaining that his music box was the only thing she kept because it demanded nothing. But the council, led by the skeptical Counselor Velen, demanded a trial. They were to share the dreaming, a psychic merging of minds. Entering the dreaming was like stepping into a kaleidoscope of memory. Floating in a void of pure thought, they witnessed each other's naked truths. Elia's chaotic apartment and his roommate's glimmer ferret, Bleep. SciFi's lonely childhood where her affection was misread as defiance. They saw terrifying potential futures of civil unrest, but they also saw the golden thread connecting them. They woke to the cold reality of the chamber, only to face a second test, the resonance sphere. It scanned their souls, projecting their overlapping lives for all to see. The bond was undeniable. The council, cornered by the truth, released them into a resonance observation protocol. But peace is rarely that simple. A public parade was organized, a spectacle where Elias felt like a prop in a play he hadn't rehearsed. Amidst the cheering crowds and floating gliders, a chill ran down his spine. They were being watched. Back at the palace, Kevin confirmed the worst. A spy had breached the Dreaming's memory vault. Someone was trying to clone their resonance to counterfeit their bond for political manipulation. The realization shifted the ground beneath them. This wasn't just a romance, it was a target. SciFi proposed a desperate solution, the memory forge. It was ancient pre-Illyri technology, forbidden and dangerous, capable of etching a bond into the quantum lattice of the universe, making it immutable. They flew to the forge, a circular lake of light floating in the vacuum of a debris field. Gravity, there was a suggestion, not a law. Standing at the edge of the forge, the stakes were absolute. This was the point of no return, a commitment not just for a lifetime, but for the timeline itself. They stepped into the light. It wasn't pain they felt, but a rewriting of self. Their memories, fears, and hopes braided together, fused by the ancient mechanism. Kevin chimed in, confirming the bond was now etched, unalterable by any force in the galaxy. They returned to the capital not as suspects, but as symbols. Velen and the Council could no longer argue with a connection sealed by the stars themselves. The society began to shift, slowly, like a glacier cracking. Fusion cafes opened, rigidity softened into curiosity. On the balcony of the palace under the twin moons, Elias wound the music box one last time. He realized then that he was no longer drifting. He was part of something permanent. The melody played on, imperfect and broken, drifting into the night, clear as stars and just as enduring.